All right, welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Madisonville Marine. New boats and pre-owned boats, the best brands on the water, and it's one-stop shopping for all different types of boats, from deck boats to fishing boats to pontoons. Most dealerships don't do that. You go and you find one type of boat or two types of boats. They've got 1,000 types down there at Madisonville Marine. It's impressive. For 45 years, Steve Sloan and Joe Special have overseen the best place to buy a boat in East Tennessee. Get down there and see it for yourself. Madisonville Marine, Highway 411 North in beautiful Madisonville. All right. After the game, Rick Barnes said his team looked timid, as we mentioned earlier, and he said they need to get good inside presence moving forward. At no point, by the way, did I hear him say that any of the blame for anything went back to him. He's not a guy who steps up and says, you know what, and I could have done better coaching this team. Not that I was waiting for that in the post-game presser, didn't hear it. At any rate, I thought it was interesting. He said, we need to get that inside presence going. Okay, you do need an inside presence. I made a point. You could have used Fulkerson. At the same time, the game is kind of going in the opposite direction right now. You know, we've talked about this. That's going more toward the NBA, the analytics style, the threes. It made me wonder, do you expect any changes in the program next year, whether it's the way Rick Barnes builds his team, the way he runs his system? You know, we're talking about he lives and dies with man-to-man. Do we expect any changes next year because it was a little disappointing this year? Or do we think, no, he's had a lot of success, it will be what it is?
That's hard to answer, but I would say this, based on the success he's had, based on the 6 years I've seen him at Tennessee, I don't see him going with a lot of changes. I think he feels like he's got a system that works. He might tweak it a little bit, but I'm not sure that he would. John, you and I are talking off air. Two of the greatest football coaches in history, Bear Bryant and Nick Saban, changed. They changed. One went to a wishbone, another went to a spread, hurry up, throw it all over the place offense, and they won. I don't know if Barnes would do that. Maybe I don't know if he's that married to his system. But there are a couple things. I mean, to me, I think he needs to be more multiple on defense.
Exactly.
Just going with the man-to-man all the time. I think he needs to alter that a little bit, throw some different looks. It's hurt Tennessee when teams have thrown different looks at them. They should do that to others. But I'm not sure if his mindset is to change what he's doing.
And I think you also could make a case that's one reason Tennessee, under Rick Barnes, tends to run out of gas late in the season is strictly man-to-man defense. I think that takes a toll on you over the course of the season, and we don't know how intense the practices are. But you can't tell me there's not going to be a time when a zone would not give you a better chance to beat somebody. I look at what Syracuse does. I look at what a multiple approach does. To me, it has to give you, and that man-to-man can help you in a lot of the principles for other defense. But to me, keep doing that. And offensively, I know Rick Barnes is inside out. He this year, at least, he said he changed some. We'll run more. And he said he wanted to run more. But it didn't materialize into a more productive type approach.
In terms of the coaches who changed, it's very rare when a guy's had success to change. That's why you're talking about the all-time greats. I mean, Steve Spurrier is another one who, when he went to South Carolina, his Florida offense didn't work. And he looked around and he said, running quarterbacks, huh? We're going to start doing that. Those guys are few and far between. That's why they're on Mount Rushmore. Most of these coaches, well, if you remember when Lane Kiffin left, somebody went and asked Philip Fulmer, would you take the job back? And he said, yeah, I'd call my guys, I'd get the gang back together. And I thought, no, that's the problem. You didn't learn anything from being fired. You need to change. Most guys, business coaches, whatever, they look at it and they say, I've had success doing this. Why would I change this? I know how to do it. I just need to do it better. And I think that's what sets the greats apart, and that's why Barnes seems to have a ceiling.
Mac Brown at North Carolina. Look how he's changed his offense. Yeah. That's another one.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, my question for Barnes would be, why do you want to change, and what is your definition of success? Because he can be looking at it, guys, and saying, look, Duke's not in the tournament, Kentucky's not in the tournament, Michigan State lost, or all the other
UNC
blue bloods that aren't in the tournament or aren't winning at the same level that he's winning at. Yes, he's not winning a Final Four national championship, but he's still winning. And so he can be saying, like, he can be looking at us being like, guys, look, I'm having success. And so why would, to Jimmy's point, why would I make any drastic changes? Because I am successful. Maybe not in your eyes or your eyes, but I am successful. And so if his definition is not saying, all right, the game is changing, and I'm trying to evolve to win a national championship, and I think the best way to do it is to evolve and shoot threes and that type of thing, then he's not going to change. And because he is having a level of success that we need to appreciate, and then he is just going to keep trying to fine-tune the system that he's been accustomed to running.
And that's the thing I think about Rick Barnes is he has a ceiling. There's no question at this point. He's got a ceiling. He also has a floor. You're not going to go below that floor, and that's why you're paying him. Because at Tennessee, you've spent many, many years digging into basements and then down into crawl space. It's like the Amityville. You've got the gateway to hell. You've dug into that. That's how deep you've gone. So he's got a floor. But it is the definition of success. All those guys you just mentioned, and we talked about it before the show, you had those guys had better recruiting classes. They got more 5-stars than Tennessee. They wasted their talent. But the difference is all those guys have multiple Final Fours and national championships to their name. So it is a question of what does Barnes view as successful. If he says, hey, I'm getting paid to make the tournament and keep us in the top 3 or 4 in the conference, I don't need to change.
My only question on
fans
that,
don't see it that way.
My only question on that is, he said we got to get that inside presence as far as the system, but then we recruited Kenny Chandler and Meshack, a 6'5" guard and a 6'1" guard, and then we've gotten 5-star guards. But if we want to have an inside presence, look at the bigs that we've recruited. They're all tweeners, right? Conway is not a back-to-the-basket inside presence guy. Walker's not a back-to-the-presence inside guy. So if that is truly what we want to have, then you see a 5-star guy that plays for Illinois, a big 6'11" dude, go get one of them guys and recruit that guy, and then you can play with that inside-out presence, and now you're a difference maker an opponent has to prepare for. But if you got a bunch of tweeners and you're trying to play inside, it's going to happen. What happened this year? You're going to have a Pons and you're going to have a Fulkerson that can't post up close to the basket, so they post up at 10 to 12 feet, which then takes away your driving angles for your really good guard play to get to the basket.
One of the quick known, and I'll bet you Chucky C. Rick Barnes wasn't satisfied with this year. So I don't think you'll look at that and say, this was okay. I don't think he feels so. I think he's too much of a competitor.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's going to change.
Right.
But I don't think he looks at this and says, I'm satisfied with this.
All right, when we come back, let's talk about social media was lit up with it. National media was taking their shots at Rick Barnes the other day, but social media and ball fans, not social media, but there were a lot of people calling for his head. We'll talk about his job performance, his job security, and then what the job expectations at Tennessee should be. All that coming up on the Sports Source. Come on back.